The United Nations is setting its sights high with ambitious new goals. Christian Kroll has been analyzing the resolutions. His team from the Bertelsmann Foundation are studying how well the 34 member countries of the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development are meeting the goals set for environmentally and socially just economies.
The United Nations Catalogue of Goals basically maps out a world that is economically strong, socially just, and uses natural resources sustainably. Those are very lofty goals, at least as high as this TV tower, if not higher.
The UN aims to achieve its new goals by 2030. So which countries are currently up to fulfilling the task? The answer is sobering.
In our study, we investigated the 17 new UN goals thoroughly, looking at all industrial nations. And we found that not a single country is up to the mark across the board. All the countries have areas where they need to improve, in some cases significantly.
The Scandinavian countries are currently best placed to fulfill the new goals. They're already strong on renewable energy and social justice. Next in line is Switzerland. Germany is in 6th place. Germany has a good record on recycling, but the average German produces much too much rubbish, 614 kilos a year. Denmark, which scores high overall, actually rates even worse here with over 750 kilos per person. That puts the Danes in last place for this goal.
We looked at 17 different areas and found that even countries that come out on top, taken overall and compared with other countries, still have areas where they need to improve, like Denmark with its garbage problem.
Each country can learn from the top performers how to improve their scores. Germany, for example, needs to reduce its fine particle emissions, use more alternative energy resources, increase the number of cleaner cars on the road, and reduce ground pollutants. In terms of economic power, Germany is near the top, and it acts as an engine of growth for Europe.
What Germany needs to do over the next 15 years is ensure that this economic growth is sustainable and socially just. The GDP doesn't tell us whether our economy is running at the expense of future generations or who is reaping the benefits of that economic output, whether it's the entire population.
That's the kind of social justice that the United Nations is calling for. The organization says that the gap between rich and poor continues to be significant in industrial countries and argues that fighting this inequality could actually benefit the economy.
So inequality is not an engine for growth as it's often been claimed. It's said we need an unequal society so that people have an incentive to improve their own living standards, their own position in the social hierarchy. But we find the opposite is true. More equal societies are in a better position economically than unequal ones.
The new Sustainable Development Goals are directed particularly at industrial nations.
In terms of the UN's new goals, we're all developing countries.
So it's time to get back down to earth, where the real work begins. Later this week, Christian Kroll will present the results of his study at the UN Special Summit in New York.